Howdy folks, and welcome to Star Wars Lore, and today's episode is about the Tantive IV. A common sight throughout many of the galaxy's space lanes, the CR-90 Corellian corvette performed many functions, including freight carriage, relief missions, combat operations, and passenger transport. This class of ship became best known, however, by the nickname it earned during the days of Imperial rule, a blockade runner. Now, frequently pressed into service by the forces of the Rebel Alliance, CR-90 corvettes were able to use their relatively nimble designs to blast through Imperial lines. Now, perhaps the most famous ship of this class was Princess Leia Organa's personal consular transport, the Tantive IV. Commanded by Captain Antilles, Princess Leia's starship was well known for taking the youthful senator into the heart of potential conflicts and disaster zones, often risking enormous odds in order to bring diplomatic stability to troubled worlds. Unknown to the Empire, Princess Leia was also secretly using her vessel and her status to aid the Rebel Alliance. In its most daring mission, the Tantive IV managed to escape with secret Imperial codes while in orbit above Scarif. Now, these codes detailed the construction of and part of the plans for an awesome battle station known as the Death Star, which anyone who's seen Rogue One already knows that story now. Now, the Tantive IV was supposed to hand over the plans to the Liberty, which was the Mon Calamari MC-80 Star Cruiser, but the arrival of an Imperial Star Destroyer, the Immortal, prevented this. Now, Princess Leia attempted to escape with the information, but during the Tantive IV's run to the planet Tatooine, the ship was captured by Darth Vader aboard the Devastator. Its crew were killed and the princess was taken prisoner. The Tantive IV was then destroyed, Vader's men having sent a fake distress call to cover up the craft's sudden disappearance. And the Tantive IV also began life as the Star of Alderaan, which was just one of a number of corvettes in service to the Royal House of Alderaan that also included some older CR-70 ships, such as the Sundered Heart. And if any of you are wondering where you've heard that before, well, odds are you've played Star Wars Empire at War or Empire at War Forces of Corruption, and if you play as the Rebels, this Sundered Heart is one of the hero ships you can use in space battles. And it was aboard the Star of Alderaan that Bail Organa smuggled fugitives Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi to Coruscant. The Star of Alderaan was renamed later on in honor of visiting diplomats from the planet Tantive IV during a cultural exchange. Now, the CR-90 corvette itself was a versatile and highly customizable ship with impressive attack and defense capabilities, which is what made it very popular with the rebels and pirates alike. The CR-90 corvette's distinctive hammerhead shape was defined by the broad command pod at its bow and the cluster of iron turbine engines at the back. The highly visible red stripe indicated Tantive IV's diplomatic status. 4 decks high at its broadest point, the ship could carry a crew complement ranging from about 30 to 165, and when configured as a Starliner, around 600 passengers could be accommodated. If the CR-90 was set up for freight, over 300 tons of cargo could be carried. Pirate blockade runners frequently mixed and matched interior designs as the need arose, while a consular ship like the Tantive IV was configured with a number of task-specific rooms, which included a conference chamber, a well-appointed stateroom suite, and a dining hall for formal dinners and diplomatic receptions. In addition, extra ballistic armor plating was in place to protect the princess's royal chambers on the uppermost deck. Now, while capable of atmospheric travel at a fair 950 km an hour, the CR-90 was best suited for sublight and hyperspace flight. A typical ship in this class was fitted with a Class II CEC subspace hyperdrive system mounted between the ship's main reactor and the ion turbine engine cluster. Offensive systems were lightweight but adequate for a small capital ship, with 6 Tame Bark H9 double turbo lasers and 6 turret emplacements across the hull. 2 armoured turrets covered the top and bottom hull areas, while 4 smaller turrets were mounted on the left and right side of the middle of the ship. Configured for long-range fire, these 4 smaller turrets also doubled as armed escape pods. With a 12-person capacity, these pods had a limited range and onboard consumables. For passive defense, the ship had a tough ferromagnesium ceramic composite hull capable of weathering turbolaser blasts at close range for a limited period. Beyond this, a powered Kingsmayer 484J4E screen control and shield projector deflected kinetic and energy weapon attacks. Now, in later years, modified versions were introduced, fulfilling the same broad spectrum of operations and functions for Rebel, Independent, and Pirate commanders. Now, the transverse barrel-shaped command module that formed the front of the ship enclosed 3 decks. On the upper level, the cockpit provided seating for pilot, co-pilot, and 2 navigation officers, as well as a briefing room and the main computer core. The command module also housed the captain's cabin and the quarters for the ship's junior officers. On the lower deck, a pair of docking hatches allowed airlock access to space stations and other orbital facilities. A lift allowed easy transit from one level of the command module to another. Now, in addition to those 4 armed turrets that also happened to be escape pods, they were positioned in around about middle of the ship up on top. Underneath them, on the bottom, there were 8 3-person escape pods. And it was one of those escape pods that R2-D2 and C-3PO used to escape the ship with the stolen Death Star plans given to R2 from Princess Leia. But Captain Antilles, to help disguise their escape, actually launched the remainder of the escape pods to help fool the Imperials. And there you have it, some detailed history and schematics of the CR-90 Corvette, but in this case mostly the Tantive IV. So if you like the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the video as well, and I'll talk to you all on the next one. Later.